Okay, so Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So the Constitution was written in 1787, made up of three parts, which we've already gone over: the preamble, the 7 articles, and the 27 amendments. The Constitutional Convention was held in Philadelphia. The preamble basically just states why we need a constitution. If you remember, it's because the Articles of Confederation were pretty weak, and then they wanted to make sure that we had a stronger central government. Okay. So the Bill of Rights, these are the 1st through 10th Amendments. They protect our civil liberties. Basically, it allows for there to be little to no government interference in our lives. It places strict limits on how national government can use its power over the people. So, First Amendment, it's freedom of religion, specifically religious freedom, prohibits Congress from establishing an official religion. Also known as the Establishment Clause, separation of church and state, it guarantees Americans the right to practice their faith as they wish. So, whatever you want to practice, you are welcome to practice. Also leads to freedom of speech. The Supreme Court includes internet communication, art, music, even clothing. So it's not just your words, it is pretty much any form of expression. There are some limits. It has to be clear and present danger, and it cannot endanger the lives of people around them. Okay? That is pretty much the limit on freedom of speech. Also, slander, which are spoken lies. First Amendment also covers freedom of the press. The government cannot practice censorship. This was established during the John Peter Zenger trial in 1733. The limitations on the freedom of the press is libel. So if it's been proven a lie, you cannot print a lie about somebody. Freedom of assembly, they have to be peaceful in order to assemble. That is kind of the key word there. And permits may be required. You also have a freedom to petition. It's a formal request where you get signatures to basically achieve a goal. The government is not required to respond, but it just helps put pressure on them because the government is run by the people. And if you have tons of people who have showed up and petitioned, then it helps put a little pressure there. Okay, Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. The argument here is that you should have a state-kept militia or individual citizens to bear arms. That's kind of where the debate comes in. Does everybody have the right to bear arms, or only if you are part of like a state militia or some type of reserve? Also comes into gun control law. Should there be regulation? Should there be an automatic weapons ban? Where's the limit drawn on the type of guns that you can have? And then also, should you have to be registered to own a firearm? Again, a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. It's pretty debatable. Third Amendment, in peacetime, soldiers may not move into private homes without consent of the homeowner. This one primarily just comes from the Revolutionary War when they had the Quartering Act. We don't really think about it these days. It's kind of obsolete, but if we ever, if you had a soldier show up at your front door demanding to be let in your house, you could say no based on the Third Amendment. Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. You need a search warrant issued by a judge, and they have to have probable cause. So without the probable cause or without the search warrant, they cannot search you or the things that you own. So one of the things around this is the Patriot Act, happened under President George Bush in 2001. If you remember, 2001 is when we had 9/11. This was a direct result of that. It's providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct Terrorism Act. They shortened it to Patriot because, it's a lot shorter than saying providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct Terrorism Act. It allows law enforcement agencies to search telephone, email, medical, and financial records, detain and deport immigrant searches without a court order. Okay, so they can do a lot of things without a court order as long as it falls under the Patriot Act. So the Fifth Amendment protects the rights of people accused of crimes. No one can be put on trial for a federal crime without an indictment, which means that they have to be formally charged by a grand jury. And you are innocent until proven guilty. Also protects against double jeopardy. It means you cannot be tried twice for the exact same crime. You have the right to remain silent, meaning you don't have to incriminate yourself. You are given the right of due process, meaning you follow established legal procedures, and we talked about that in class. It also gives eminent domain, means it's the right of government to take private property for public use, usually with compensation. Sixth Amendment, speedy and public trial. You can ask for a jury trial. An accused person who cannot afford a lawyer will have one provided. Seventh Amendment is your right to trial by jury for damages. you can waive that right. Lawsuits that involve disagreements between people rather than crimes, typically what we call civil. Right to a trial jury in federal courts to settle disputes worth more than $20. The Eighth Amendment, no cruel or unusual punishment, no excessive bail, which is the money you use as a security deposit to let you out while your trial is going on. The disagreements in the U.S. over the death penalty fall under this quite a lot. And 37 states have the death penalty, including North Carolina. It ranks number 6 in executions. And here's just a list of the executions. Okay. Again, here are the executions. Much higher on males than females. Ninth and 10th Amendments. Ninth Amendment, all rights not spelled out in the Constitution are retained by the people. 10th Amendment, source of the reserved powers of the national government, prevents government from becoming too strong. Only have the powers the people give to it. Okay, there's 17 more amendments that got added to the Constitution, and we've already talked about them, but we will continue to talk about them in more depth as we go through the class. So 7 articles of the Constitution. First one, legislative. Second one, executive. Third one, judicial. Fourth one, relations between the states. Fifth one is the amendment process. Sixth one, national supremacy. And seventh is ratification. And there's a little acronym to help you remember it. It is, oh no. Okay, got it back. This is the acronym or the sentence that goes with it. Little elephants just really act nasty and rude. If you remember, L, legislative, E, executive, J, judicial, R, relationships between states, A, for the amendment process, N for national supremacy, and R for ratification of the Constitution.